Admiral Dalvin watched the sensor data with growing interest. The 3 Velkari ships had pulled back to a safer distance, their crews working frantically to repair damaged systems. The human ship, this Indomitable, remained where it was, shield still active, waiting. "Contact all available ships in this sector," Dalvin ordered. "I want a full battle group here within the hour. 12 ships should be sufficient." His second-in-command, a younger Velkari named Polven, seemed uncertain. "Admiral, is that necessary? Surely 3 more ships would be enough to overwhelm them." Dalvin's crystalline body glowed a deep blue, a sign of serious thought. "That weapon they used, did you see the speed, the kinetic force? If that had hit Captain Rinva's ship directly, it would have torn straight through our shields and hull. We have never encountered such a weapon. But Admiral, they only have 1 ship. We have thousands. Which is why we will use 12 ships now, rather than lose dozens later because we were arrogant." Dalvin had not become fleet commander by being foolish. He had studied military history, learned from the mistakes of others. Underestimating an enemy was the fastest way to die. On the Indomitable, Captain Hyun-woo sat in his command chair, projecting calm while his mind raced through scenarios. Commander Ji-won stood beside him, speaking quietly. "Sir, I'm detecting multiple hyperspace signatures. More ships are coming. At least 12, possibly more." Hyun-woo nodded slowly. He had expected this. The warning shot had made an impression, but it had also escalated the situation. "How long until they arrive?" 47 minutes. "Good, that gives us time. G1, I need a full analysis of those 3 ships we faced. Weaknesses, shield frequencies, power signatures, everything." G1 moved to her station and began working. Lieutenant Tae-sung turned in his chair. "Captain, we should run. 12 ships, we can't fight that many." "Running might not save us, Lieutenant. If they have faster ships, they could hunt us all the way back to Earth." "And then what? They follow us home?" Hyun-woo shook his head. "No. We make our stand here. We show them that humans are not easy prey." Dr. Yoonji had been listening quietly. "Captain, surely there must be another way. Can't we negotiate? Talk to them?" "I tried that, Doctor. They fired on us. Sometimes the only language people understand is strength." Hyun-woo's voice was sad but firm. He did not want war, but he would not allow his crew to be captured or killed without a fight. Across the bridge, Engineering Officer Dong-hyun's voice came through the speakers. "Captain, I need to report something. Those energy weapons they hit us with, they barely scratched our shields. Our kinetic barriers are designed for physical impacts, but they work even better against energy. Their weapons are almost useless against us." This was interesting news. Ji-won looked up from her analysis. "Dong-hyun is right, sir. I've been analyzing their attack patterns. The Velkari use pure energy weapons, plasma, lasers, particle beams. Our shields were designed to stop railgun rounds and missiles traveling at enormous speeds. Energy weapons like theirs just disperse across the barrier." Tae-sung grinned. "So we can take their hits, but they can't take ours?" "Not exactly," Ji-won cautioned. "Enough energy will overwhelm any shield eventually. 12 ships firing together could potentially break through. We need to be smart about this." Hyun-woo stood and walked to the view screen. The 3 damaged Velkari ships were visible in the distance, beautiful and deadly. "What about their shields? Can our weapons get through?" "Yes, sir. Their shields appear to be energy-based, designed to deflect other energy weapons. But our railguns fire solid projectiles. The kinetic impact goes right through their shields. It's like they've never had to defend against physical weapons before." It made sense, Hyun-woo thought. If these Velkari had been the dominant power for centuries, everyone would copy their technology. Energy weapons against energy shields. They had probably forgotten that other approaches existed. "Ji-won, start working on a tactical plan. We can't destroy 12 ships, but we can hurt them badly enough that they think twice about pressing the attack." "Yes, sir," Science Officer Hanul spoke up from her station. "Captain, I've been monitoring communications between those 3 ships and their command. They're scared. They're calling us dangerous, warning their admiral to be careful. We've already won a psychological victory." Hyun-woo considered this. Fear was a powerful tool, but it could also make an enemy desperate and unpredictable. Keep monitoring. I want to know everything they say. The minutes ticked by. The crew prepared for battle, checking weapons, reinforcing shields, running emergency drills. Eunji prepared the medical bay for casualties, though she hoped it would remain empty. Finally, space began to shimmer. One by one, 12 Valkyrie warships emerged from hyperspace. They were larger than the 3 cruisers, more heavily armed, more dangerous. They formed a sphere around the Indomitable, surrounding it completely. "Here we go," Tai-Sung muttered. The main view screen changed. Admiral Dalvin appeared, his crystalline form more elaborate than Rinva's, marking his higher rank. He studied Hyunwoo with what might have been curiosity. "I am Admiral Dalvin of the Valkyrie Dominion Fleet. You have demonstrated unexpected capability, human. This is your final opportunity. Surrender your ship and answer our questions, or you will be destroyed. There is no escape. You are surrounded." Hyunwoo met the alien's gaze steadily. "I am Captain Hyunwoo of the United Earth spaceship Indomitable. We are explorers from Earth, located in Sector 01 by our navigation charts. We have traveled far from home seeking knowledge and friendship. You have responded to our peaceful intentions with violence. Despite this, I offer you one more chance. Withdraw your ships, and we will leave this sector. No one else needs to die today." Dalvin seemed almost amused. His body glowed with colors that the computer could not interpret. "You are one ship. We are 12. You speak of us dying? Your confidence borders on insanity." "Perhaps," Hyunwoo replied calmly. "Or perhaps you have forgotten that there are different ways to fight. You will learn today that humans do not surrender." The transmission ended. Dalvin turned to his weapons officer. "All ships coordinated bombardment on my mark. Full power. We will test their shields to destruction." On the Indomitable, alarms began to sound. Jiwon's voice was urgent. "All 12 ships are charging weapons. Energy signatures off the scale. Captain, they're going to hit us with everything at once." Hyunwoo gripped the arms of his command chair. "All power to shields. Angle them to deflect as much energy as possible. Activate point defense systems. Everyone hold on." The Valkyrie ships fired simultaneously. 12 massive beams of plasma energy converged on the Indomitable from all directions. The space around the human ship lit up like a star, blazing with destructive power. The combined energy could have destroyed a small moon. Inside the Indomitable, the crew felt the ship shake violently. Lights flickered, sparks flew from several control panels. The roar of energy striking the shields was deafening even through the hull. "Shields at 84%, Jiwon shouted over the noise. 79, 71, they're dropping fast." Yoonji held onto a railing, her medical training keeping her calm even as her heart raced. Tae-Sung's fingers flew over his controls, ready to return fire the moment the captain gave the order. The bombardment lasted 15 seconds. When it ended, the bridge was filled with smoke and the smell of burned circuits. But the ship was intact. "Shields at 68% and holding," Jiwon reported, coughing from the smoke. "Hull integrity 100%. We're damaged but functional." On the Valkyrie flagship, silence filled the command center. Every screen showed the same impossible sight. The human ship was still there, still intact, still dangerous. "How?" Polvin whispered. "Nothing survives our combined fleet bombardment. Nothing." Dalvin's confidence wavered for the first time in decades. These humans and their strange ship had just withstood the full might of a Valkyrie battle group. What else could they do? "Analyze their shield technology," he ordered. "Find a weakness and prepare for their counterattack. If they survived that, they will definitely strike back." On the Indomitable, Hyunwoo stood despite the rocking of the ship. His uniform was singed, his face smudged with soot, but his eyes were clear and determined. "Jiwon, execute Tactical Plan Omega. Tae-Sung, prepare all weapons. Today we teach the galaxy what it means to challenge humanity." The bridge of the UESS Indomitable hummed with quiet energy. Captain Hyunwoo stood at the center, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. Stars stretched out before them, countless points of light in the darkness of space. They had been traveling for 3 weeks, exploring this unknown region far from Earth. "Captain, we're approaching Sector 447, said Commander Ji-won from her station. She was his first officer, smart and always careful. Her fingers moved across the control panel, checking their position. Hyun-woo nodded. "Any signs of life?" "Negative, sir. The sector appears empty. No signals, no ships, nothing unusual." The captain relaxed slightly. This mission was supposed to be peaceful. Earth had sent the Indomitable to explore, to find new worlds, maybe make friends with other species if they existed. So far they had found nothing but empty space and dead planets. Lieutenant Tae-sung sat at the weapons console, looking bored. He was young, eager, always ready for action. "Sir, if we don't find anything soon, this will be the most boring mission in history." "Boring is good, Lieutenant," Hyun-woo replied with a small smile. "Boring means everyone goes home alive." Dr. Eun-ji walked onto the bridge carrying a datapad. She was the ship's chief medical officer, but she also advised the captain on ethical matters. "Captain, I finished analyzing the atmospheric data from the last planet. Definitely no life there, but the mineral deposits are interesting." Before Hyun-woo could respond, the ship's computer beeped. Ji-won's expression changed instantly. "Captain, I'm detecting 3 ships approaching from coordinates 447 Alpha. They just appeared on our sensors." Everyone on the bridge became alert. Hyun-woo straightened. "Can you identify them?" "Negative. The design doesn't match anything in our database." "They're not human ships." The moment they had all wondered about had finally arrived. First contact with an alien species. Hyun-woo felt his heart beat faster, but he kept his voice calm. "All hands, this is the captain. We may have contact with unknown vessels. Everyone remain calm and follow protocols." On the view screen, 3 shapes appeared. They were beautiful in a strange way. The ships looked like they were made of crystal and light, with smooth curves and glowing edges. They moved gracefully through space, much different from the bulky, practical design of the Indomitable. "They're hailing us, sir," said the communications officer. "Put it through." The view screen changed. A face appeared, but it was unlike any human face. The being seemed to be made of crystal, with light moving inside its transparent body. Its features were sharp and angular. When it spoke, the computer translated the words into Korean. "Unknown vessel, you have entered Dominion space. I am Captain Rinva of the Velkari fleet. Identify yourself immediately." Hyun-woo stepped forward. "I am Captain Hyun-woo of the United Earth spaceship Indomitable. We come in peace from the planet Earth. We did not know this space was claimed. We mean no harm." Rinva's expression was hard to read, but her tone was cold. "Earth? We have no record of your species. Your ship appears primitive. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Your vessel will be inspected and you will answer questions." The bridge crew looked at their captain. Hyun-woo felt the weight of the moment. This would determine how humanity was seen by these aliens. If he surrendered immediately, would they see humans as weak? But if he refused, would it start a war? "Captain Rinva, we are explorers, not invaders. We request diplomatic dialogue. We cannot allow you to board our ship, but we are happy to meet in a neutral location." There was a long pause. Rinva's crystalline face seemed to glow brighter. "You dare refuse? No species refuses the Velkari Dominion. You will comply, or you will be forced to comply." Ji-won quietly spoke to Hyun-woo. "Sir, their weapons are charging. Energy signatures increasing." Hyun-woo made his decision. "Raise shields. Bring engines to combat readiness. But do not power weapons. We will defend, but we will not attack first." The crew moved quickly. The Indomitable's shields activated, creating an invisible barrier around the ship. The engines hummed louder, ready to move if needed. On the view screen, Rinva looked surprised. "You have defensive capabilities? Interesting. But they will not save you. This is your final warning." A bright pulse of energy shot from one of the Velkari ships. It streaked across space and hit the Indomitable directly. The ship shook slightly and lights flickered on the bridge. "Shields holding at 98%, Ji-won reported. "Minor impact. They were testing us." Tae-sung's hands hovered over his weapons controls. Sir, permission to return fire? Denied, Hyunwoo said firmly. We record everything. Let them show the galaxy who started this. The three Velkari ships moved into an attack formation. They looked confident as if they had done this 1,000 times before. More energy pulses fired, hitting the Indomitable from different angles. The ship shook harder, and some crew members grabbed their seats for support. Shields at 92%, Ji-won called out. They're increasing power. Eun-ji looked worried. Captain, maybe we should retreat. We came here to explore, not to fight. Hyunwoo understood her concern, but he also understood something else. If they ran now, these aliens would hunt them. They would seem like prey. Not yet, Doctor. Not yet. All three Velkari ships fired together. A massive wave of plasma energy hit the Indomitable. The bridge lights went red and alarms sounded. The ship groaned under the impact, metal straining against the force. Shields at 89% and holding, Ji-won reported, her voice steady. Hull integrity is perfect. No damage to internal systems. On the view screen, Rinva looked shocked. Her crystalline body seemed to pulse with different colors. She turned to someone off-screen, speaking in her own language. The computer could not translate it, but her tone was clear. She was surprised, maybe even worried. Far away, on a massive command ship, Admiral Dalvin watched the battle through long-range sensors. He was the commander of the entire Velkari fleet in this region. For 300 years, no species had ever withstood an attack from 3 Velkari cruisers. This primitive-looking ship should have been destroyed or disabled by now. What is that vessel made of? Dalvin asked his science officer. It's unknown, Admiral. Our scans show it is mostly metal, very dense. Their shields appear to be kinetic barriers, not energy fields like ours. They are designed differently. Dalvin leaned forward in his crystalline chair. Continue the attack. I want that ship disabled. I want to know what these humans are. Back on the Indomitable, Hyunwoo made his choice. They had shown patience. They had tried peace. Now they needed to show strength, or these aliens would never respect them. Lieutenant Tae-sung, he said quietly, prepare Railgun Battery 1, single round. I want you to fire into the empty space exactly between those 3 ships. Make it impressive. Tae-sung grinned. Yes, sir, with pleasure. The magnetic accelerator cannon charged up. It was humanity's answer to energy weapons, simple, brutal, effective. A tungsten slug weighing 2 tons accelerated to 3% the speed of light. Fire, Hyunwoo ordered. The railgun fired with a deep thrum that shook the entire ship. The round crossed the distance between the Indomitable and the Velkari ships in just over 1 second. It passed exactly where Hyunwoo had ordered, directly between all 3 vessels. The kinetic energy was so massive that space itself seemed to ripple. The shockwave hit all 3 Velkari ships, shaking them violently. Sensors exploded, shields flickered, and the beautiful crystalline hulls cracked in places. On the Velkari ships, alarms screamed. Rinva stared at her damaged controls in disbelief. What was that? What kind of weapon moves that fast? Her science officer's voice was shaking. Captain, that was a physical projectile. Solid matter moving at relativistic speed. Our sensors barely detected it before impact. If that had hit us directly, Rinva did not need him to finish. They would all be dead. She opened communications with Admiral Dalvin. Admiral, we need reinforcements. These humans, they are not primitive. They are dangerous. Commander Ji-won brought up the tactical display on the main screen. Red dots surrounded a single blue dot, the Indomitable alone against 12 enemy warships. To anyone else, it would have looked like a hopeless situation. But Ji-won had been studying warfare since she was young, and she understood something important. Numbers alone did not guarantee victory. Captain, Tactical Plan Omega is ready, she said. But it's risky. Very risky, Hyunwoo nodded. Explain it to everyone. Ji-won highlighted 4 of the red dots on the display. The Velkari fight in formations, perfectly coordinated. They're used to enemies who fight the same way. But we're going to do something they don't expect. We're going to look weak. Tae-sung frowned. Look weak? We nearly got blown apart, exactly. So we make them think they succeeded. Ji-won's eyes gleamed with tactical insight. We vent plasma from the starboard side, power down several decks, and drift as if we're crippled. 4 of their ships will move in close to board us. That's when we strike. Dr. Yunji looked horrified. You want to let them get closer? After what they just did to us? It's the only way, Doctor, Hyunwoo said gently. At long range, they can keep hitting us until our shields fail. But up close, our railguns and missiles will tear them apart before they can react. Engineering Officer Dong Hyun's voice came over the speakers. Captain, I can vent plasma to make it look like a reactor breach. I can also create false readings showing our shields are failing. It'll be convincing. Do it, Hyunwoo ordered. And Dong Hyun? Make sure our actual shields stay at maximum power. When we spring this trap, I want every advantage we have in done. Yes, sir. Give me 2 minutes. On the Valkyrie flagship, Admiral Dalvin studied the enemy ship carefully. The human vessel was listing to one side now, plasma venting from its starboard side. Several sections appeared to have lost power. His sensors showed their shield strength fluctuating wildly. They're crippled, Admiral, Polovin reported. The bombardment damaged them more severely than we thought. Their reactor is leaking plasma, their shields are failing. Dalvin wanted to believe it, but something felt wrong. These humans had surprised him twice already. Could this be a trick? 4 ships will approach to board them, he decided. The rest of us maintain position and keep weapons locked on them. If this is a trap, we will be ready. 4 Valkyrie cruisers broke formation and began moving toward the Indomitable. They advanced slowly, weapons charged and ready. 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, 500 meters. Inside the Indomitable, the bridge was quiet. Every crew member watched their displays, waiting for the captain's order. The enemy ships were so close now that they filled the view screen, their crystalline hulls beautiful and terrible. Shields? Hyunwoo asked quietly. Full power, sir, Ji-won confirmed. All weapons ready. Wait for it, Hyunwoo breathed. Wait. The 4 Valkyrie ships moved to 300 meters. Boarding parties were preparing to transfer to the human vessel. On their bridges, Valkyrie captains believed they had won an easy victory. Now, Hyunwoo barked. The Indomitable came alive. All power systems surged to full capacity. The ship straightened instantly, no longer listing. 3 railgun batteries rotated toward the nearest Valkyrie ships. Missile pods opened like flowers blooming. Fire everything, Taesung roared. The railguns fired first. Tungsten slugs, each weighing 2 tons, accelerated to incredible speeds. At this close range, the Valkyrie ships had no time to react. The first slug hit a cruiser directly in its central section. The kinetic force was devastating. The energy shields might as well have been paper. The slug punched completely through the ship, entering from one side and exploding out the other. The beautiful crystalline hull shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. The second and third slugs hit 2 more ships. One lost its entire front section, spinning wildly out of control. The other's reactor exploded, creating a fireball that engulfed 2 nearby vessels. Missiles away, Taesung shouted. 72 missiles launched from the Indomitable's pods. Each carried a fusion warhead, simple but devastatingly effective. The Valkyrie point defense systems tried to intercept them, lasers flashing in the darkness of space. But these systems were designed for energy weapons and other missiles that moved predictably. Human missiles were faster, more maneuverable, equipped with electronic countermeasures. The missiles swarmed the 4 Valkyrie ships like angry insects. Explosions bloomed across crystalline hulls. One ship lost all power, drifting dead in space. Another split completely in half. The third managed to raise emergency shields, but 3 missiles got through anyway, crippling its weapon systems. The entire attack lasted 43 seconds. When it ended, 3 Valkyrie ships were destroyed. One was crippled beyond function, and the other 8 ships in the battle group sat frozen in shock. On the Valkyrie flagship, alarms screamed. Admiral Dalvin stared at the tactical display in disbelief. 4 ships. He had lost 4 ships in less than a minute. 300 Valkyrie crew members were dead or dying. Impossible, Polovin whispered. How did they... What kind of weapons? Dalvin felt something he had never experienced in 300 years of military service. He felt fear. Real, genuine fear. These humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They used deception, physical weapons, and brutal efficiency. They were not advanced. They were something worse. They were dangerous. All ships withdraw to maximum weapons range, he ordered, his voice shaking slightly. Do not approach that vessel. Maintain formation and await orders. The 8 remaining Valkyrie ships pulled back quickly. putting distance between themselves and the deadly human warship. On their bridges, crews worked frantically to analyze what had just happened. Inside the Indomitable, the crew erupted in cheers. They had faced overwhelming odds and survived. More than survived, they had won a major victory. Shields at 34%, Ji-won reported, but she was smiling. Hull integrity at 91%. Minimal casualties. Engineering reports 3 injured crew members, no deaths. Hyun-woo felt relief wash over him. They were alive. His crew was safe. Lieutenant Tae-sung, excellent shooting. Commander Ji-won, your plan worked perfectly. Tae-sung was grinning widely. Sir, did you see that? We just took on 12 ships and sent them running. We took on 12 ships and survived, Hyun-woo corrected. This isn't over yet. They still outnumber us. They'll regroup and come up with a new strategy. Yoon-ji came onto the bridge looking shaken but composed. I've treated all 3 injured crew members. Minor burns and 1 broken arm from falling during the attack. They'll all make full recoveries. Good work, Doctor. Hyun-woo turned to Hanul at the science station. What are they saying? Hanul listened to the intercepted Velkari communications, her eyes widening. Sir, they're terrified. Admiral Dalvin is reporting to his superiors that we're an extreme threat. He's requesting authorization to use their most powerful weapons. This was concerning. Hyun-woo had hoped the display of strength would make the Velkari think twice about continuing the fight. But fear could make people or aliens do desperate things. Ji-won, can we jump to hyperspace? Get out of here before they decide to escalate further. Ji-won checked her console and shook her head. Negative, sir. The hyperspace drive took damage during their bombardment. Not serious damage, but Dong-hyun says it needs at least 2 hours of repairs before we can safely jump. 2 hours. They needed 2 hours, and they were surrounded by angry aliens who now knew humanity was a serious threat. Then we hold our position, Hyun-woo decided. We've shown them we can defend ourselves. Now we show them we won't invade their space. We'll stay right here, make repairs, and wait. Wait for what? Tae-sung asked. For them to make the next move. If they attack again, we fight. If they want to talk, we talk. But we will not run. If we run now, they'll think we're weak. They'll hunt us all the way back to Earth. On the Velkari flagship, Dalvin was making a difficult decision. He had reported the battle to the Dominion High Council. Their response had been immediate and clear. Destroy the human ship at any cost. The Velkari could not allow a single unknown vessel to defeat their forces. It would show weakness to the 12 other species under Dominion control. But Dalvin had studied the battle carefully. These humans had destroyed 4 ships while barely taking damage themselves. They had technology that countered Velkari weapons. They fought with cunning and showed no fear. Sir, orders from the High Council, Polvin said, bringing up a communication. We are authorized to use the Stellar Sunder. Every Velkari in the command center went silent. The Stellar Sunder was a weapon of last resort. It could crack planets, tear apart moons, and absolutely obliterate any ship it hit. It was mounted only on flagships, used only in the most desperate circumstances. Dalvin looked at the tactical display. The human ship sat there waiting. Inside it were beings who had fought bravely to defend themselves. They had not attacked first. They had shown restraint even when winning. In another situation, Dalvin might have respected them, but orders were orders. The Dominion demanded this threat be eliminated. Charge the Stellar Sunder, he ordered quietly. Target the human vessel. Fire when ready. The news of the battle traveled fast across the galaxy. Within hours, every species under Velkari control knew what had happened. An unknown species called humans had fought 12 Velkari warships and won. 3 Velkari ships destroyed, 1 crippled, and the mysterious human vessel barely damaged. On the water world of Thalar, Captain Vellum of the Thalari Defense Fleet listened to the reports with growing excitement. The Thalari were an aquatic species, intelligent and peaceful. For 200 years they had lived under Velkari rule, paying tribute, following orders, watching their freedom slowly disappear. Did you hear? His second officer asked, her fins fluttering with emotion. The Velkari can be beaten. They're not invincible after all. Vellum studied the tactical data that had been leaked through secret channels. Many species under Dominion control had underground networks, ways of sharing information the Velkari did not know about. This is dangerous information, my friend. If the Dominion learns we are discussing this, let them learn, she said boldly. I'm tired of being afraid. These humans have shown us that the Velkari bleed. Maybe it's time we stopped bowing to them. Velim understood her feelings. He felt them too. But revolution was not simple. The Velkari had ships, weapons, and 3 centuries of military dominance. One battle did not change that. Still, he thought, one battle could start something. It could give people hope. In the insectoid colonies of the Mycon Collective, traders calculated profit opportunities. The Mycon cared little for politics or freedom. They cared about commerce, and this news about humans meant new opportunities. If the Velkari are weakened, trade routes will change. The trademaster buzzed to his subordinates. New species means new markets. We should make contact with these humans, learn what they need, what they have to trade. The Mycon immediately began planning. Where others saw war, they saw business. On 17 different worlds, species that had forgotten what independence felt like began to whisper and dream. The Velkari had ruled for so long that most beings had accepted it as the natural order of things. But now doubt crept in. If humans could stand against the Dominion, what else was possible? Back in Sector 447, Captain Hyun-woo was unaware that his battle had sparked a galactic awakening. He was focused on immediate survival. The Velkari ships maintained their distance, but they had not withdrawn. Something was happening. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup on their flagship," Hanul reported, her voice tight with concern. "It's unlike anything we've seen before. The power levels are enormous." Jiwan analyzed the data quickly. "Sir, I think they're charging some kind of superweapon. If the energy signature is accurate, it could destroy us in a single shot." Hyun-woo felt cold. They had survived everything the Velkari threw at them, but this was different. This was overwhelming force. "How long until they can fire?" "Unknown. The weapon is still charging. Maybe 5 minutes. Maybe 10. Not enough time to repair the hyperspace drive and escape. Not enough time to do anything except prepare to die." Hyun-woo looked around his bridge at the crew he had come to love like family. They all knew what was coming. They all chose to stay calm. "Sir," Taesung said quietly, "we could ram them. Full speed, hit their flagship before they fire. At least take them with us." "No," Hyun-woo said firmly. "We're not giving up." "Jiwan, options." Jiwan worked her console frantically. "We could target the weapon while it's charging. If we hit it just right, maybe we can make it explode before they fire. But we'd have to get close, really close. Suicide range." Before Hyun-woo could respond, the communications officer spoke up. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission. It's not from the Velkari. It's coming from... I don't know what it is. Small ship, unknown design, approaching fast." On the view screen, a new vessel appeared. It was tiny compared to the warships around it, sleek and blue like ocean water. It broadcast on all frequencies. "Human vessel indomitable, this is Captain Velim of the Thalari people. I come with urgent information. The Velkari are preparing to use a planet-killer weapon against you. You have minutes to live unless you run or fight." Hyun-woo was surprised but responded immediately. "This is Captain Hyun-woo. We cannot run, our hyperspace drive is damaged. As for fighting, we're considering our options." There was a pause. Then Velim's voice came through again and there was emotion in it. "Captain Hyun-woo, my people have lived under Velkari rule for 200 years. We have watched our freedom die slowly. Today you showed the galaxy that the Dominion can be resisted. You gave us hope. I cannot let you die without at least trying to help." "How can you help?" Hyun-woo asked. "Your ship is small. No offense, but..." "I'm not alone," Velim interrupted. "I sent out a call. There are others coming. We may not have big weapons or powerful ships, but we can stand with you. Sometimes that's enough." On the tactical display, more ships began appearing. They came from different directions, different species, different worlds. Most were small. Cargo ships, patrol boats, private vessels. A few were actual warships, outdated and weak compared to Velkari technology. But they came anyway. G1 counted them in amazement. "Sir, 17 ships total. Mixed species. They're taking position around us. 17 ships against 8 Velkari warships. The odds were still bad, but now humanity was not alone." On the Velkari flagship, Admiral Dalvin watched in shock as the alien fleet assembled around the human ship. These were species under Dominion control. They should have been terrified to oppose him. Instead, they were protecting his enemy. "This is rebellion," Polvin said, his crystalline body glowing angry red. They dare because we gave them a reason to dare," Dalvin said quietly. "We should have offered the humans peace. We should have talked instead of shooting. Now we've created a symbol of resistance." "Orders, Admiral?" Dalvin looked at the assembled fleet. Most of those ships could be destroyed easily. But the message their destruction would send, the Dominion crushing those who sought freedom, might spark a galaxy-wide uprising. But if he did not destroy them, if he showed weakness now, the rebellion would spread anyway. Continue charging the stellar sunder, he ordered. We will destroy them all if necessary. On the Indomitable, Hyunwoo opened a channel to all the ships that had come to help. This is Captain Hyunwoo. I am grateful for your courage in coming here, but I must be honest. The Velkari are preparing a weapon that could destroy all of us. You still have time to leave. There is no shame in survival. Captain Vellum responded first. With respect, Captain, we're not leaving. For 200 years, my people have asked ourselves, when does survival become cowardice? Today we have our answer. Other voices joined in, species Hyunwoo had never heard of, speaking languages the computer had to translate quickly. They all said the same thing in different ways. They were staying. Then we fight together, Hyunwoo said. Commander Jiwon, coordinate our defense with these ships. Let's show the Velkari what happens when they unite people against them. Jiwon began working with the other ships, creating a defensive formation. The Thalari had excellent sensors, so they would provide targeting data. The Mycon ships were fast and could conduct hit-and-run attacks. Others had different strengths. Together they might survive. Yoonji watched the preparations, tears in her eyes. Captain, do you realize what this is? We came here alone, and now 17 different species are willing to die alongside us. That's incredible. Hyunwoo nodded. It's what humanity has always believed, Doctor. That freedom is worth fighting for. That standing up to bullies matters. I guess we're not the only ones who believe that. Deep in the Indomitable's engine room, Dong-hyun was working frantically on the hyperspace drive. If he could just get it working, they could all escape. His hands moved quickly, repairing circuits, replacing burned components. Come on, he muttered. Come on, you stubborn machine, work. On the Velkari flagship, the stellar sunder reached full charge. The weapon drew power directly from the ship's main reactor, channeling enough energy to crack a planet's crust. Space around the flagship began to warp visibly, reality bending under the weapon's power. Stellar sunder at full power, Admiral, the weapons officer reported. Ready to fire on your command. Dalvin looked one last time at the ragtag fleet protecting the human ship. Part of him admired their courage. Part of him mourned what he was about to do. Fire, he ordered. The stellar sunder fired, and space itself screamed. The beam of energy that erupted from the Velkari flagship was like nothing humanity had ever created. It was pure destructive force, a weapon that could tear planets apart concentrated into a single devastating ray. The space around it warped and twisted, reality itself struggling under the power. Incoming, Jiwon screamed. Impact in 7 seconds. The 17 Allied ships immediately moved to protect the Indomitable. The Thalari vessels activated their shields, layering them in front of the human ship. Mycon craft tried to create interference fields. Everyone did what they could, it was not enough. The stellar sunder hit like the hammer of an angry god. The first 3 Thalari ships simply ceased to exist, vaporized instantly. The next 4 ships managed to absorb some of the beam's energy before their shields collapsed and they exploded. The remaining ships scattered, hulls damaged and systems failing, but they had bought time. 7 precious seconds while the beam chewed through their defenses. 7 seconds for the Indomitable to act. All power to forward shields. Hyunwoo roared. Angle them to deflect, not absorb. Jiwon's fingers flew across her console, angling the shields at exactly the right inclination. The beam hit the Indomitable's shields and, for just a moment, deflected slightly upward. It was like trying to redirect a river with a leaf, but it worked. Most of the beam's energy passed over the ship instead of through it. Most, but not all. The Indomitable shook like it had collided with a planet. Entire sections lost power. Decks 7 through 11 suffered hull breaches. The shields collapsed completely, overloaded beyond any safety limit. Fires broke out on multiple decks. The crew was thrown around like toys, hull breaches on 7 decks. Jiwon called out, her voice barely audible over alarms. Shields offline. Casualties reported on all damaged decks. Yoonji was already running toward the medical bay, where injured crew members would be arriving any second. Taesung had a bleeding cut on his forehead but remained at his station. Hanul was unconscious, slumped over her console. Captain Hyunwoo pulled himself back into his command chair. His left arm hung at a wrong angle, broken. His vision blurred. But his mind was clear, they were still alive. Battered, damaged, bleeding, but alive. Can we move? He asked Jiwon. Engines at 40% capacity. We can move but not fast. Weapons? Railgun Battery 2 is offline. Battery 1 is functional. We have 16 missiles left. Yunwu looked at the tactical display through blood-obscured eyes. The Valkyrie flagship was there, its weapon recharging but temporarily vulnerable. 7 other Valkyrie ships surrounded it, but they were hanging back, shocked that anything had survived the stellar sunder. In that moment, Captain Hyunwoo made a decision that would be studied by military academies for centuries to come. Instead of retreating, instead of trying to limp away to safety, he did the opposite. He attacked. G1. Plot a course directly toward their flagship. Maximum speed. G1 looked at him in shock. Sir, that's suicide range, I know. Do it anyway. Taesung, prepare all remaining weapons. Everything we have left. Taesung's eyes widened, then he grinned through the blood on his face. Yes, sir. With pleasure. The Indomitable's engines burned to maximum power. The damaged ship accelerated toward the Valkyrie flagship, trailing plasma and debris from its breached hull. To the Valkyrie, it looked like the act of a desperate or insane captain. They were wrong. It was the act of a human who refused to die quietly. On the Valkyrie flagship, Admiral Dalvin watched in disbelief as the human ship charged straight at him. They survived? How did they... What are they doing? They're attacking, Admiral, Polvin shouted. All ships intercept that vessel. The 8 Valkyrie ships opened fire, but the Indomitable was moving too fast now, weaving through the energy beams with desperate skill. G1 piloted the ship like it was a fighter craft, not a massive warship. Some shots hit, tearing away more armor, but the ship kept coming. 1 kilometer from the flagship, target their weapon, Hyunwoo ordered. The stellar sunder. If we hit it while it's charging, he did not need to finish. Everyone understood. The weapon was gathering energy for another shot. If they could damage it, make it discharge prematurely, 800 meters, all railguns, fire, Taesung screamed. The magnetic accelerators fired every remaining round. 6 tungsten slugs, each moving at 3% of light speed, crossed the distance in just over 1 second. They hit the Valkyrie flagship's hull around the stellar sunder's charging port. 500 meters, missiles away. The last 16 missiles launched, streaking toward the same target. The Valkyrie point defenses desperately tried to intercept them, but half got through, 300 meters. The stellar sunder, struck by railgun rounds and hit by fusion warheads while charging, could not contain the energy building inside it. The weapon that could crack planets was designed to release its power outward, not inward. Now it had no choice. The explosion was cataclysmic. The stellar sunder detonated inside its own ship, tearing the flagship apart from within. Admiral Dalvin had 1 second to realize what had happened before the blast consumed him and his entire crew. The explosion expanded outward, catching 3 nearby Valkyrie ships and destroying them instantly. The shockwave damaged 4 others, leaving them adrift and powerless. The Indomitable, already so close, was caught in the edge of the blast. The ship tumbled end over end, more hull sections tearing away, fires spreading to new decks. But somehow, impossibly, the core structure held. When the explosion finally faded, space was full of debris and the dying light of destroyed ships. 8 Valkyrie warships had come to destroy the human vessel. Now only 1 remained functional, and it was already jumping to hyperspace, fleeing as fast as it could. Inside the Indomitable, the bridge was a disaster. Sparks fell from broken conduits. Smoke filled the air. Half the control panels were dead. But the crew was alive. Status report, Hyunwoo said weakly. Ji-won coughed, checking her flickering console. Shields gone. Weapons offline. Hull breaches on 15 decks now. Life support failing on 12 decks. We're a wreck, sir. But we're alive. Taesung laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. We did it. We actually did it. We took on 12 Valkyrie ships and we won. Not we, Hyunwoo corrected quietly. All of us. The Thalari, the Mycon, the others. They died to give us a chance. The remaining Allied ships, those that had survived, began broadcasting messages of celebration and mourning mixed together. They had lost 11 ships and hundreds of crew members. But they had witnessed something that would change the galaxy forever. The Valkyrie were not invincible. 3 days later, Captain Valem's small ship docked with the damaged Indomitable. He was one of the few Thalari captains who survived. When he came aboard, Hyunwoo met him in the docking bay, his broken arm in a sling. Captain Velem, Hyunwoo said, I owe you and your people a debt that can never be repaid. You saved our lives. Vellum's aquatic features were hard for humans to read, but his voice carried emotion. No, Captain Hyunwoo. You saved us. For 200 years we forgot what it meant to stand for something. You reminded us. The Thalari who died here died free. That is a gift beyond measure. Over the next 2 weeks, more ships arrived. First came other species from nearby systems, curious about the battle. Then came human reinforcements. 3 warships from Earth, sent in response to Hyunwoo's original distress call. Admiral Jae-hoon, commander of Earth's Second Fleet, came aboard the Indomitable personally. He was older than Hyunwoo, a veteran of Earth's various conflicts. He walked through the damaged corridors, seeing the repairs underway, meeting the crew. You started a revolution, Captain, Jae-hoon said when they met privately in Hyunwoo's quarters. The Valkyrie Dominion is in chaos. Species all over their territory are refusing orders, demanding independence. The Dominion military is stretched thin, trying to maintain control. Hyunwoo felt tired. I just wanted to explore, sir, to find new friends among the stars. And you did in a way, just not the way you expected. Jae-hoon smiled. Earth Command is sending diplomatic ships, scientists, traders. We're not alone in the galaxy anymore, and it's because you refused to surrender. The months that followed saw profound changes. The Valkyrie Dominion did not collapse immediately, but it was forced to negotiate. Treaties were signed. The species that had fought alongside the Indomitable formed a loose alliance, not under human rule but as equals working together. The Thalari regained their independence. The Mycon expanded their trade networks to human space. Other species found their own paths to freedom. The Valkyrie themselves, humbled by defeat, slowly began to change. A new admiral named Kristen took Dalvin's place. She was younger, more willing to question the old ways. She reached out to humanity, requesting dialogue. 1 year after the battle, a monument was erected in Sector 447. It floated in space where the battle had been fought, a structure built by humans, Thalari, Mycon, and even Valkyrie working together. On it were inscribed the names of all who had died in the battle. Human names, Valkyrie names, Thalari names, and others. They had fought on opposite sides, but now they were remembered together as beings who had changed the galaxy. Captain Hyunwoo stood before the monument in his spacesuit, floating in the void. He was an admiral now, commanding Earth's diplomatic fleet.